Welcome to the Luke Howe Homestead. It is July 18th, Thursday. Figured I'd do a little update because we got a pretty decent rainstorm here, or lightning storm, a night ago, roughly. And you can kind of see we've had tons and tons of growth on our tomatoes, and this is kind of a new thing this year, running them through panels, and so far it has turned out quite wonderfully, I've got to admit. Granted, we got to go through and kind of prune the bottoms a little bit so we don't end up getting blight, but they are growing absolutely wonderfully. We even have some here. You can see these guys over here are probably, those are probably 6-inch squares. They're pretty close, 4-inch squares. So, I mean, you're talking almost 2 feet. These guys are way less than that. We ended up getting this panel flipped around, so the two top tines there are actually a little bit shorter, but that is probably the tallest tomatoes that we've ever had, let alone the tallest tomatoes that we have here right now. And that's, I mean, from ground level even, because you're looking, it's actually a long ways up. Because even our potted tomatoes, like this little guy, he's in a very small pot, but he's doing really well. And two of my other tomatoes that have gone crazy, I mean, they are almost twice as tall as the pot is. So, should be interesting to see here. Almost all of our beans are starting to string. This is probably hip height to the top strand. So, I mean, we're starting to get a few that are coming along pretty well. And our cucumbers are starting to walk up too. As you can see, they're kind of becoming a little bit of a mess, but they definitely look wonderful. We actually ended up with a tomato plant that showed up like 2 weeks ago as a little donator, and it actually has set flowers now. So we're going to let it go and see what it comes out to be. I'm kind of curious. Every single one of these peppers has flowers on it, or at least has start flowers. You can kind of see this guy here, but should be interesting to see how they all come out. Also, our corn has grown a fair bit as well, along with all of our pumpkins for sure. These are all bush beans back here that I had from 2-3 years ago, Safe Seeds, and they are all they look like they're about ready to start pushing beans, because I mean we've got flowers started here, so I would say it wouldn't be too long now till we're gonna have beans. One of our pumpkins here has kind of gotten a little gnarly and decided he didn't want to stay inside the garden anymore. So he decided to climb the wall, and we'll have to see if we're gonna even try to untrellis him. I was trying just to kind of keep him in one spot and bring him back down, but evidently he quite likes it up there. So we'll have to see how this goes. Also, my wife's sunflowers have all come up. They're starting to look wonderful. This is the biggest one out of the set. Well, biggest 2 or 3 out of the set. But they definitely look amazing. And with this garden, as far as nutrients at all, I haven't really put a whole heck of a lot on it. I think I did one application of Job's tomato feed on the tomatoes and on the peppers. And I added a little bit more nitrogen to a couple of the peppers that weren't looking so hot, using Job's blood meal. But otherwise, I mean, everything looks pretty good. I mean, we must have some pretty fertile soil. And then also we've got one more squash plant, I believe it is, back here. It doesn't like staying in his own part of the yard because he's decided to try and take everybody over. As you can see, he set out quite a few stringers here. So he must really be liking this weather too. And another one of the pumpkins. And then this is a zucchini, I believe, back here. And another squash plant that really hasn't strung out at all. So we'll have to see how they do. And our radishes are coming along fairly nicely. It really looks like we have some kind of bug, weevils or something, that are starting to chew through them. But we've got some decent sized radishes coming up. And, well, in this spot is kind of a shady spot most of the day, so that doesn't look so hot. But then we went through and cleaned out our carrots, and well, it doesn't look that clean anymore. They've really started to grow up pretty good. Kind of curious because unfortunately we're starting to get some fungus in certain spots in here. I don't know if I need to get them out of there or not, but if anybody's got any ideas, it'd be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, from Lou Cow Homestead, hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll probably update you on the hops and the raspberries here in a little bit.